Tonight on CTV, we investigate a new cell phone addiction.
Then, Miss Skeller celebrates 50 years on campus.
And later, 1 year ago tonight, the life of a CSU student was taken.
All this and more on CTV News starting now. Good evening, Rams, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Edgar Studio, filling in for Emma Ianicone.
And I'm Ryan Christ. Let's get started.
CSU hosted Jared Polis and Walker Stapleton last night for the second-to-last gubernatorial debate. Polis and Stapleton squared off on a variety of issues ranging from higher education, oil and gas development, to how they can protect women in the state.
Education will be my priority for general fund expenditures.
That I will be a governor who asks for full transparency across all our 178 school districts.
If Democrats in the state legislature send you a California-style sanctuary state bill, do you promise to veto it?
When it comes to higher education, Stapleton wants to make funding for higher education a bigger priority in the state. Polis, on the other hand, was in favor of making college cheaper for college students by lowering tuition. When it came to immigration, Polis said that he would not make Colorado a sanctuary state, and Stapleton did not clarify whether he would remove road and bridge funding from sanctuary cities in the state. Stapleton said, quote, "I don't believe that immigrants should be treated with more rights and protections than U.S. citizens that commit a crime." The most contentious part of the debate came when the candidates were asked about Roe v. Wade and women's protections. Both agreed that their job as governor is to protect the women of Colorado. Stapleton said that if he is elected, he would be a pro-life governor, but supported Roe v. Wade being the law of the land. When it came down to protecting women, Stapleton attacked Polis for an altercation between Polis and one of his secretaries back in 1999. The candidates will face off one last time on October 23rd at the University of Denver.
Good news for all students who are still might be looking to make a little bit of money before the holiday season. King Soopers and City Market stores are going on a hiring spree around Colorado. The stores are looking to hire around 1,000 employees and will be hosting hiring events at 153 locations across the state. The store also recently moved their required employee age limit from 16 to 15. King Soopers is the largest chain store in the state of Colorado and has 5 locations here in Fort Collins. If you're looking for a job to do alongside your studies, this may be your big break.
Yesterday was the final day of Cans Around the Oval. Cans and monetary donations from all involved organizations were brought to the Oval. Cans were weighed and collected by the Food Bank for Larimer County and will soon be distributed to residents in northern Colorado. The goal for Cans Around the Oval is to raise $65,000 and 35,000 pounds of food. The numbers from yesterday have yet to be released. Here at CTV, we proudly donated 165 cans and $318.
Our phones, the first thing we check in the morning and the last thing we check at night. According to a recent survey, the average American checks his or her phone between 80 to 300 times per day. This is about once every 10 minutes, which makes it difficult to get through a class here on the CSU campus without sneaking a peek. Many professors believe that phones can be overly distracting in the classroom, and some are coming up with new ways to battle this found addiction.
Phones are powerful tools, but they also can be overused, especially in the classroom. Much so that high schools in Colorado have been banning them outright. Would a zero-tolerance policy work on a college campus? According to Professor Pamela Duncan, phones in her classroom have always been banned.
It bugs me, you know, and I think it's rude, and I don't think it helps students learn. So I have had, you know, just put them away for years now, and that goes for laptops too.
According to a study reported on CNN, nomophobia, or the phobia of not having your phone at your fingertips at all times, is a real problem. CSU student Carly Guest agrees.
So I think we can deny it and say that we're not, but I feel like we always have the need to have it on us. Even if we're not looking at it, I just feel like you don't really leave anywhere without your phone.
I asked CSU students on campus to see if they agreed with Carly.
Like, I wouldn't be able to find the bus, or I wouldn't be able to know where my classes are. I'm like, ridiculously dependent upon my cell phone and like quick access to the internet to like get through like my day-to-day activities and tasks.
I would say just everyone's always constantly on them, just face down in them. Even music, you're always listening to music, wandering around.
With phone addiction apparently on the rise, professors like Pamela Duncan are getting creative with her new phone break policy.
At the federal level, the deal is that they get a 2-minute phone break. And so hopefully, I mean, in a way, it's kind of acknowledging the addiction.
If you don't think you're addicted to your phone, try putting it aside and take note of how long you go before you have an uncomfortable urge to pull it out and check it. For me, it was only a few minutes.
2 female students at the University of Colorado Boulder were hospitalized early this morning after being drugged at a party near the CU campus. The students were in the University Hill neighborhood at the time of the incident. Boulder police say that they are uncertain if the girls were at the same party and what kind of drug they were given. Police remind students never to leave a drink unattended, accept drinks from strangers, or even drink from open containers.
20 years after the murder of Wyoming LGBTQ student Matthew Shepard, a letter between 2 of the murder suspects has been released. The letter was written while they were imprisoned in Albany jail and was written by Aaron McKinney to Russell Henderson. In the letter, McKinney tells Henderson to blame everything on him when they got to court. McKinney writes, quote, "I don't think you can begin to understand how sorry I am that I got you and Chaz into this mess." For more on this story, you can visit coloradoan.com.
50 years ago, the Beatles topped the charts with their hit wonder, Hey Jude, and the man was about to walk on the moon. But something else was about to happen right here on the CSU campus. The Ramskeller was about to be born.
Happy birthday to you. It's Colorado State University's favorite watering hole, the Ramskeller. It originally was a coffee shop, but in 1968 it started serving 3.2% alcohol to 18-year-olds. Skeller manager Pete Andrews remembers those days well.
Sure, they only had like 3 tap handles at the time, but now we have 20 tap handles. We have a full-strength liquor license, so we serve beer, wine, and cider.
The Skeller was born during an era of student protests across the nation. But the idea of civil disobedience hit close to home when students held a beer in, demanding that the campus change its drinking laws, allowing beer to be drank on campus.
I think it's just more, not so much about the pitcher itself, just we deserve to have an input in all decisions made.
Now, 50 years later, ASCSU is leading another protest, pushing the administration to bring back the famous pitchers.
If there was an alcohol issue that came up with a patron who wanted to be overserved alcohol, pitchers were usually part of the issue with that.
Andrews says it's just not that easy.
It's the administration just completely disregarding how students actually feel and is not even pretending to listen to them.
Protests or no protests, pitchers or no pitchers, the Skeller remains a CSU hotspot for students and employees, promising a good time for those who partake.
1 year ago tonight, CSU student Savannah McNeely was out celebrating her 22nd birthday with friends when that celebration turned tragic. McNeely and Tristan Kemp were gunned down in the early morning hours by Michael Zamora after returning to McNeely's home at the Sudstone Apartments. Her close friends Megan Diker was also shot but survived. Police say Zamora then turned the gun on himself. Police say the shooting was the result of a relationship dispute. Tonight, for the first time, one of Savannah McNeely's closest friends is breaking her silence. CTV Marlo's Lundak has this exclusive story about friendship, lives lost, but a life well lived.
Showdown yet again. CSU, CU.
This isn't a story about how Savannah McNeely died, but about how she lived and will be remembered.
Super independent and strong, caring, selfless. Definitely made it evident that she just was, going to be following in her path, but she was going to be caring for others along the way.
Taylor Saul met Savannah McNeely when they were in middle school. They went to high school together and then to CSU. The two women weren't just friends, they also lived together.
We lived together too, sophomore year.
Taylor says Savannah was selfless, evident in everything she did.
She literally would make me peanut butter and jellies when she would make her PB&Js. She'd be like, hey, there's one in the fridge for you. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how did I strike gold? You know what I mean? Like, how did I get this roommate? This best friend.
McNeely found her passion through art. She was a member of the design team for student media and an intern for CSU Creative Services.
That was, you know, where she felt that she could express herself. Like, she loved to do art.
Through her creativity, Savannah helped create this, the Ram Walk. What is now a game day tradition is part of the legacy she leaves behind.
The whole homecoming last year, the Ram Walk, the naming of her, everything that CSU has done that they did do, you know, after that time was so amazing, and everything that I needed.
Savannah left this world too soon. She also left behind many friends, many who were together to celebrate her birthday with her 1 year ago.
I guess the way we have, you know, honored her and remembered her is just through our friendship, because that's what she offered us, is the best friendship we could have ever asked, and we try to do that for each other. We walked outside this is our freshman year.
A life taken too soon, but love and friendship that is eternal.
She lives through me every day, and I will never take our friendship for granted. She was the most wonderful human.
Well, Marlo, that was such a hard time on campus. How are Savannah friends and family doing?
They're doing really well. You know, Taylor said that they're taking it day by day. They're learning to live without Savannah, but they're doing really well. Taylor also told me that this weekend her and Megan, the survivor of the shooting, and a bunch of Savannah's other friends will be going out to the sand dunes and spreading Savannah's ashes. They told me that that was one of her favorite places, and so they're going to really spend this weekend honoring her doing that. So.
Well, and what better way to honor her than to put her last remains in her favorite place?
Right, really touching, really sweet story.
That's great. Well, Rams, that's all we have for you in news.
Stay tuned for weather, sports, and entertainment, all coming up next on CTV.